It's recording now, so
Okay.
ready for the 5 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, let's have Shanine do the guest host license first.
Okay, sure.
So whenever you're ready, Shanine, go ahead.
All right. I, Shanine Thompson, give permission to Francisco Ruiz and the Retro Rewind podcast to use my video, voice, and vocal commentary recorded within the Retro Rewind podcast and any past, present, and future recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast in any and all media in perpetuity without any restrictions and with no expectation to receive compensation now or in the future as it relates to any past, present, and future recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shanine. Okay. What did I just say I was going to do after that? I'm totally blanking.
Oh, we're going to start recording. No, the 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah, the 5 seconds. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to just have 5 seconds. Don't mute yourself or do any sort of gating or anything. This is just to get sort of a noise floor that I can take out in post-production. So we're just going to be all quiet, not muted, but quiet for 5 seconds. Let's start that now.
Quiet.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who's all? Ashley's here. Hey, Ashley. Paul's here. D. Tungsten, don't eat it. Miss Stacy, what?
Don't eat it.
Wait, is that from Anne of Green Gables?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, because it's the rat.
Oh, the rat.
The thing. Yeah. I was thinking.
Good callback.
Yeah, I was thinking. What's her name? Not Daria. Not Danae. What's her name? Diana. I think Diana with the stuff. Are you? I can hear the. Okay, almost done. Cool. All right. Let's see.
I need a dance emoji thingy.
A dance emoji. Why?
Search emotes. No, there isn't. At least not in Twitch.
Let's see. I think I'm all good.
Yeah, it was her teacher, but I don't know what you're talking about Diana for.
I was confusing that with her getting drunk. It just crossed wires in my.
Okay. Cherries are amazing. The glass bowls make lots of noise.
Oh my gosh. Hey,
Sweet
Shanine, while we're waiting here to start, can you tell us and everyone watching a little bit about either Hoot and Howl or First Geek 411 or both of them? I mean, we're going to give you a chance to sort of self-promote at the end, but you can go ahead.
We want you to repeat yourself.
Yeah. Just talk over and over again, please.
Yeah, say the same thing over and over. Now go ahead.
All right. Well, I blog at The Hoot and Howl about faith and nerdy things. It's changing currently, so the website is not up and running right now, but it will be found at thehootandhowl.wordpress.com, hopefully soon.
Mm-hmm.
So are only owls and wolves allowed there?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, everyone is welcome.
Oh, cool.
Very
No,
nice.
what is the significance of Hoot and Howl? Like, what's the origin?
Well, foxes and owls are like my favorite animals, and
Cool.
it's also kind of a play on like pub names.
Mm-hmm. It had that ring to it when I first heard it. I was like, oh yeah, that's just
pub,
Yeah.
like drinking. I thought you said pug, like the dogs with the smushed schnauzers.
No, pub.
I gotta get my
yeah.
ears cleaned out. What's going on here?
Mom,
go ahead.
did you check the stop time? I don't know.
No.
Now we're having fun.
And what's the podcast you're a part of about, Shanine?
And yeah, on First Geek 411, we talk about all sorts of geeky things, geeky news, geeky topics. I run the book club over there once a month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And you can go follow them here. There's a
Yeah.
link to their Twitch. Go give them a follow.
One Geek 411. Nice. So what's been a favorite book you've covered recently? Sorry, Francisco.
No, you're fine.
We actually started this year with my favorite book from last year,
Oh.
which was Vicious by V.E. Schwab.
Oh.
Um,
What genre of storytelling is that?
it is like a dark supervillain fantasy.
Ooh.
I love it
So
so
where
much.
the villain is the hero of their
Kind of
own
like
story?
Yeah.
Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, that type of thing, but more dark, less like fun. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
cool.
less singing?
And
Less.
there's not really a hero at all. It's more villain versus villain.
Okay.
Oh,
But-
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. All right, guys. Thank you, Mallory, by the way. I think we're. All of a sudden, I hear a lot of loudness in the background.
Yeah.
Here, hold on.
That's better.
Oh, I muted Valerie. I think
know.
it's you. Oh. Is there like a. What could that be? Do you guys have air conditioner?
Yeah,
that's
it's our
turned
air
on?
conditioning going.
Okay. All right. Now let me take a new 5 seconds. So
Okay.
here's another 5 seconds.
Wait for it.
All right. Now
Okay.
I can get that out and we'll be fine. I mean, when we're talking, you'll still hear it, but okay. Paul, are you ready to a thumbs up if you're ready to start the actual podcast? Guys?
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Okay. Let me get up my notes. Get away from the chat from Twitch. Put my notes up. Sorry, Twitch. All right. Let me just go over fishing for lake trout.
Yes. Say it exactly like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gilbert, I'm fishing for lake trout.
Don't do it like that.
Okay, yeah.
Flip it. Do you want to be Gilbert in this scenario?
Oh, no. I don't have the Canadian accent like he does. Sorry.
Wow. I didn't hear much of Megan's Canadian accent, but we'll get into that maybe. Whenever you're ready, Paul.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
You lead off.
All right. Oh yeah, I do. All right.
Oh, by the way, you don't have to call me pauljpowers.com. You can call me whatever. It's your podcast.
Paul the whatever Powers. All right. that's-
Your podcast, sir. You're the captain.
Okay, here we go. We're starting the actual show in 5, 4, 3. Paul Powers, what are you doing?
Fishing for lake trout and listening to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitors, fluxing, crew to stations, scanning for, and of Green Gables, 1985. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I am your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the pauljpowers.com Powers.
All right, I'm glad to be here, Kay.
Glad you're here as well, Paul. And also for this discussion of the film Anne of Green Gables, we welcome aboard lover of Jesus and stories and spooky season, blogger, podcaster, and moderate geek, Shaneen Thompson. Hey, Shaneen.
And token Canadian.
And, oh, are you? Okay, awesome.
Oh,
From where?
Okay.
What parts?
Alberta.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Nice.
in Canada.
Very cool. And in addition to Shaneen, we have back aboard clergy chief of the pod, Valerie Powers. Hey, Valerie.
Hi.
Hello. And now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Anne of Green Gables? The 1985 one. That was a mini series.
What? I thought we were covering Annie. Anne with the E, the little redhead orphan girl.
No, you got it wrong. Rewind. Come back.
What?
That could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
All right. Anne of Green Gables was released December 1st, 1985 in Canada. It runs well over 3 hours and around the 19-minute mark past that. It's rated TV/G. It was directed by Kevin Sullivan, and it was written by Kevin Sullivan, Joan Weinsfield, and based on the novel by Lucy Maud Montgomery, with lead stars being Megan Follows, Colleen Durst, and Skylar Grand. The music was composed by Haggard Hardy. Are you ready for the box office trivia game?
I am ready. Shanine, Valerie, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Awesome. You're just guessing where this movie ended up in 1985, essentially. And everyone here in chat is welcome to play along as well. Why are you giving that sign signal, Paul? Go for it.
Because Anne of Green Gables was made for about $3.5 million and was released theatrically in Iran, Israel, Europe, and Japan.
Oh, cool.
But its earnings cannot be substantiated since precise records were not kept after Tannen shot a newspaper editor who printed an unfavorable story about him in 1884. So, sorry, no box office trivia this time.
We soundboarded over each other, but you get the gist.
Sure.
We'll just add that down. All right, so no box office trivia game this time. But thank you for those factoids, Paul, nonetheless. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we will get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert, alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Spirited Anne Shirley's turn-of-the-century life is not easy.
She ain't my responsibility no more.
But when the Cuthberts of Green Gables adopt her,
This must be the Anne we've heard so much about.
Anne's adventures are only just beginning.
I can't imagine how I let that child worm her way into my affections.
That's the one good thing about me. I never do the same wrong thing twice.
It's the classic original series, Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, you know, that classic original series that I'm sure you all remember so vividly. In fact, I'm sure that commercial brought tons of memories back. But in case it didn't, here is our memory mind meld synopsis of Anne of Green Gables. Anne, with an E, is kicked out of a foster family and is adopted in hopes of a cheap child labor for elderly couple's farm. But they mistakenly got a girl. Womp womp. Anne becomes best friends with Diana, goes to school where she breaks boards over boys' heads, falls off a roof, and gets her best friend drunk. Also, puff sleeves. Anne's dream lived up to her expectations, a totally magical event. Matthew dies, forcing Anne to grow up, but it didn't embitter her, and Anne winds up falling in love with Gilbert. I mean, I don't know if any of that was. That seemed all. This whole magical event thing. I don't know what that was. So we are obviously very much.
What? No Hogwarts up in Canada?
Decepted. No, there was not. And based on those very flawed memories, not really. What reign did they lead you to predict this for this film before you watched it or rewatched it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with you, Shanine. What was your prediction for Anne of Green Gables?
Oh, classic.
Classic.
Yes.
Valerie. Oh, go. Why classic? Yeah, break that down for us. Is it just because it was in Canada or some other reason?
I don't know. I think I grew up watching this a lot. So I have very vivid memories of the whole thing.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, there's no way it can have changed that much since the last time I saw it.
Nice. How about you, Valerie?
Classic for the same reasons. I loved it as a girl.
Oh, okay. Nice. Paul, did you love it as a girl? I mean, boy.
Absolutely. Loved it as a girl. I watched it so many times, and then all of a sudden I looked around. Now I'm an adult. I don't know. Maybe it's because it was so long. I don't know.
But what did you say?
Classic, yes.
Classic, okay. And you know what? I predicted classic as well. I remember enjoying this as a kid, and subsequent viewings, I seem to recall liking it. So it'll be interesting to see if that glowing pre-approval measures up. But dang it. Where am I?
Edna mode.
Yes, I know Edna mode. Okay.
As flawed as those memories were.
No, I'm not trying there.
Okay.
All right, so given that very glowing pre-approval of Anne of Green Gables, it'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into our discussion of the things we liked most about this film or miniseries. Let's spin up our
Best bets.
The best things we liked about Anne of Green Gables. And let's begin once again with Shanine. What's one thing you liked about this film / miniseries?
I love just how they portray just a simple life with simple dreams, bringing so much joy and satisfaction. Like, I don't know, things don't have to be like wildly extravagant. You can just have fun at the community picnic and having tea with your best friend. And
You mean you don't have to have aliens trying to destroy the world to have a good likable plot?
You need at least $100 million in special effects.
At least minimum. Okay. Yeah, just totally. The simple like setting. And do you feel, are you saying that the setting was sort of simple, or the story was simple, or the characters, or you said the dreams, like what the characters, the motivations? Is that what you're meaning?
yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Paul, what's something
that goes
you
right
liked?
into mine, because I said
perfect.
settings as well, but I meant more like the locations and the landscapes. It was beautiful. Like I know the wide angle shots were all filmed right there in Prince Edward Island, but the close up, more outdoors shots were filmed in Ontario, Northern Ontario.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
it was a great view of, I guess, the best of Canada, if you will. But it was very beautiful. You felt like it was very real.
Yes. Do any of you happen to know if that house is still there? I don't know if it's on Prince Edward Island, but if it is it still there?
Yeah, I think it's a museum, a movie museum now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Oh, very cool.
So at one point, the filming of the House of Green Gables became more popular than the real Green Gables on Prince Edward Island, because I don't know where it is now, but like around the year 2000, it was more popular of an attraction place because of these films.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool. Valerie, what was something that's very cool for you about Anne of Green Gables?
I love the music.
Yes. Anything specific about like how it matched the series, or it was hummable? What specifically about the music?
Yeah, I mean, there were certain scenes where the wind was blowing and they're out in the field, and then the music is just perfect for that moment. It gets louder, and it matches the setting, it matches the plot, and it's just beautiful and peaceful.
Awesome. You know what? And that was one of my likes as well, was the music. I thought it sounded very akin to Somewhere in Time, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I just really, I thought it fit really well. It was really beautiful, and I equally enjoyed it. Valerie. Shanine, let's circle back to you. What's something else you liked about Anne of Green Gables?
I think something that's always stood out to me about Anne's story is kindred spirits. And I love that whole theme of like finding your people, and just the term kindred spirit is so like, I don't know, cozy and nice.
Yeah. Does she say that? I'm trying to recall. Because she calls Diana her bosom buddy, but who is it the aunt? Marilla, and then
calls a lot of people kindred spirits. Aunt Josephine, Miss Daisy.
Awesome.
Matthew.
Okay. Yeah, that is a sweet idea. You don't hear a lot of that anymore, and I feel like friendships, just having friendships be sort of a tentpole, I guess you could say, of a story. Yeah, there isn't much of that anymore.
Yeah,
which is,
you get buddy cop movies, but that's about it.
that's about it. Yes, exactly. Valerie, I'm going to go back to you again. What's something else you liked? Was it the sort of the friendships, the kindred spirit element, or something else about this film?
Well, what I wrote down was actually something Paul. I think the setting is just absolutely beautiful, and I actually have a dream of going to Prince Edward Island because of the book and the movie.
Yes, absolutely. I think that would be beautiful to go there for sure. So I assume, Valerie, Paul, you haven't been. I haven't been. Correct. Shanine, have you happened to travel to there?
I have not. It's definitely on my list as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right. Well, we will just enjoy the pictures for now. Let's go to Paul next. What's something else you liked?
I enjoyed the humor in this. Again, there's a lot of subtleties throughout this picture series that, but the humor is a little slow and, like I said, subtle. But it made me laugh out loud in a lot of places.
Yeah, same here. Absolutely.
Especially around the mainly from the interactions of the characters, especially from surprisingly Marilla, who's not the main character.
Oh my gosh,
just with her interactions with Anne, and she has very different interactions with Matthew, and then it's very different from Rachel Lynn, and all these interactions produce this unique humor that. And Colleen Durst with her subtle like eyebrow raise and her smiles or nods or
much like facial comedy.
Yes.
Just like how it's
really, very subtle, you know,
yeah.
and she does it very well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally appreciated Colleen Durst as Marilla.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say something else I liked, and I think equally did a good job with comedy, not quite the same way though, was Megan Follows, who played Anne, of course. I thought she did a great job of playing, and sort of like what. So I honestly thought they filmed her young, waited a while to film her older. But as I'm watching some behind the scenes, I'm like, no, they filmed her at the same age.
Yeah, they did it all within about 10 weeks.
Yeah, so I thought she did a great job, both her costuming and just her mannerisms. She did a great job of portraying, like, I think she starts as a 12 or a 13-year-old, and then by the end it seems like 17 maybe.
She looks 18, but it's supposed to be from 12 to 16. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I thought she did a fantastic job portraying that. So I thought that,
especially in her mannerisms and such.
She feels very adolescent, how she's responding to people and reacting to them, and then she seems much more grown up as she goes. But what's the most grown up thing, the most eclectic, the most what would be the word? Refined. Fine. Yes, best. But what's the most refined thing, or classic makers about Anne of Green Gables? Shanine, I'm gonna kick it over to you. Is it Anne? Are you with me about Anne being the best? I mean, even though I didn't say she was the best, but
I mean, actually, yes.
Oh, really? Called it.
My classic maker is Anne.
Oh yeah.
I've always loved her view of the world and outlook on life. Like she just charms everyone she comes into contact with, including us as the audience watching her. And
I thought it was true. Especially great that she got over. There's this moment early on where she insults Rachel Lynn's character, and she's like, "Please don't make me do it." But Marilla's like, "Fine, then you can go back." And she gets over herself. She goes and like apologizes. And I thought that showed a lot of maturity and likability, because I don't think if you have the protagonist, you don't want them to like be in the wrong ever. You want them to always be in the right. So I thought this actually gave her room to grow in doing that. So yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm curious, Shanine, could you have seen anyone else other than Megan Follows in this role that you think may have done a better job, or did you think she just hit all the notes perfectly?
No, she is Anne for me.
I'm all around. Paul, would you say the same for you?
Well, absolutely, because Megan Follows is my classic maker as Anne. I mean, there are some people who are just born to play roles, and I think she was born to play Anne just at this young age, because I've seen her in other stuff, and my goodness, she is quite the actress, because she is not at all like Anne in some of these other things. Like, but this slice of her life right here, it's just extraordinary. And when I read the book, and whenever I imagine it, it's like she is the quintessential Anne for me.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, I haven't seen many other renditions of Anne of Green Gables, and partly because I just like this one or her portrayal so much. It's
Yeah.
hard for me to give others a shot.
Yeah, I totally get that. It honestly be like I don't really wouldn't want to give any other Lord of the Rings iterations a shot, because I
reboot
feel like the
because of
ones
it,
that were
yeah.
in the 2000s, the Peter Jackson ones, were just, you can't top that. Or I don't want to see Back to the Future get a reboot because you can't really top that.
Right.
That type of thing. Let's go to Valerie. Did Anne/Megan Follows also make your classic maker, or was it something else?
It's Anne specifically, the character.
Okay.
And this is more of a compliment to the author really than the movie, because and the movie, because the movie did a great job of being loyal to how the author wrote her. They really portrayed it well and matched the book. But yeah, I had read the book series before I watched the movie, and she's the first character in a book or a movie that I really bonded with and related to, and I think she has the unique combination of being both spacey but smart, and she's a daydreamer, but she does well in school. And I was always spacey in my whole life, and I was called, a daydreamer, spacey. Why are you always off in your own world? So she gave me hope and inspired me because, she did well in school. I didn't do quite as well as she did, but I got A's and B's, so she gave me hope that, okay, I do have some depth. Even though I'm a little spacey, it doesn't mean I'm dumb. So I love that about her.
That's awesome that you could sort of relate to her in that way.
Yeah.
Paul, have you read the books or listened to the audiobooks?
I read the first one.
Okay. Shanine, how about you? Have you read this series at all?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I have not. Because
get on it.
There's a movie. Why would I read? Well, that leaves me, and you know what? My classic maker is not Anne Shirley. Actually, my classic maker has to do with the arc that Marilla goes on. I was just so, not really taken aback, but just so enthralled by her, like, not wanting a girl, not wanting Anne in her life. She like slowly warms up to her. Then they have that whole brooch incident, and she's like, I can't trust her. She has to go back. And then it's like, oh, it was her mistake. But then she just goes more and more. She grows to love Anne as a daughter, and you see her and Matthew have this conversation about how it's a great moment because he finally speaks up and calls her out and says, don't let her grow up to be as cheerless as we are. And she just realizes that when she's going away on that train, when Anne's leaving, that Anne being in their lives changed them almost more than they changed Anne's life. And I just thought that was beautiful, how they were sort of this just like going through the motions. And then this girl came into their life, this child, and they got to actually flourish in their older age. And I think Colleen Dewhurst did a great job of encapsulating that, along with all the humor. So that was my classic maker for Anne of Green Gables.
I'm surprised no one said Matthew. Because
Matthew is great. If I could have a longer... Oh, go ahead, Val.
Sorry, if I had room for 4, I would choose Matthew. He's wonderful.
Yes, I hear a lot of chatter about how good Matthew is.
Yeah, he is. I haven't really seen him in other things, but I'd be interested to.
He's not really an actor's sake, or at least at this point, he was just known for stuntman work.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh,
but the director met him and liked him, and he liked him so much that he couldn't do like the first part of the filming, so he got a double. Like all the far away shots, like him going into the store or him on the buggy, is a double.
Oh, really? Okay.
So just to fit him in.
Wow, craziness. Well, now that we've gone through the things we liked about Anne of Green Gables, let's move on to the things that aren't so... Oh. Sorry, guys. Looking through my notes, noticed I forgot something else.
Was it Matthew?
So sorry. No, it was Stunning and Brave. Each week, hosts Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They'll make you laugh. That's right, you have no choice. Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net.
Those guys are great, Francisco, but what do they have to do with Anne of Green Gables?
Nothing at all, which is what you are about to become.
Oh, this got dark quick.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't really have a tie-in. I mean, they're a comedy podcast. There's comedy in Anne of Green Gables. That's about it. But I knew you weren't going to go for that. So
No.
just because I knew that wasn't going to be a nice bridge for you, Paul, I came up with some trivia for you. How about, would you like to hear some trivia about Anne of Green Gables?
Oh, yeah, that would be much better. Thank you.
All right, you bet. Did you all realize that Colleen Dewhurst, who played Marilla, of course, actually grew up on Prince Edward Island, which was the setting for Anne of Green Gables? So my question to you all is, given wherever you personally grew up, would you want to spend your golden years working in that place? So you could share, if you don't want to share where it was, that's fine. But whether you share that or not, would you want to end up working there? Let's start with Paul.
I don't want to work in my golden age years.
Too bad. You have to work.
I don't want to work now. Oh, so
let's say you had to. Would you want to work where you grew up? I knew you were moved around.
Well, yeah, I'm an army brat, and we moved every couple of years or so. So there's a lot of places to choose from. One of them was in Monterey, California, Northern California, near the San Francisco area, and that's kind of not too hot, not too cold, so that would be nice.
Okay. All right, fair.
Kind of near those.
Not Germany? You'd never consider Germany?
Yeah. But that gets a little too cold. With
and
the snow.
the language
And
would be a barrier now, right?
Exactly, yeah.
A little too rough.
Yeah.
Shanine?
Nothing against the Germans. They're wonderful people.
Shanine, how about you?
I mean, I still live where I grew up, so
okay.
I
So
guess
get to work.
Wow. And can you see yourself still working in your like 50s and 60s if you had to at where you're living?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, cool. Oh my gosh. And that leaves Valerie. How about you, Valerie?
Yeah, I grew up in Southern California, and I do love it. It's a little expensive, so if I was to move, it would be because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah. If we can afford it, I would love to grow old hair.
Okay. Very nice.
Sorry, I'm adding something to the next part, so you
Dun
can.
dun dun.
Edna mode.
Not my fault.
For once, congratulations. What is this? Almost 300 episodes in.
By the way, while you're doing that, in case you're wondering, Shanine, because we have people that are new to the podcast ask, what's the Edna mode thing? So I used to always say edit mode whenever I'd have to make a cut. That way I'm letting myself know in the future, hey, Francisco, you're probably playing a game right now, but edit this part out while you're re-listening to the podcast while you're editing.
Instead of playing a game, I'm editing. Sure.
Yeah, get back to editing instead of playing this whatever you're doing now, Francisco. That's distracting you. But I would say that Paul just adapted that to Edna mode, and now we call it Edna mode is when I'm editing.
That's really cute. I didn't know that. Either.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's why. Are you done, Paul? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm waiting on your story to end.
I assumed you knew, darling.
That's great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And I don't even know where I am, so I have to redo that one.
I highlighted it. It's up here.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. By the way, we're looking at the same notes online. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay. Great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what you, our awesome rewinders. Sorry. Let's take 3.
That was fine, but okay.
No, I said let's find out what you are. We have to find out what memories they had.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
All right. Great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Anne of Green Gables.
All right, and these all come from Facebook. Nathan James Norman says, one of my top 5 movies of all time. My girlfriend, now wife, made me watch this when we were dating. I tried to take a nap while it was on, but the story drew me in. My wife and I are currently reading through the series.
Nice. Who Will Save Generation X podcast says, all I remember about it was a girl I liked. Sorry, let me read. The phrasing of that, it all depends on how you say it.
Sorry. Zeb. Try again, Paul.
He says, all I remember about it was a girl I liked was into it. So it meant that suddenly I was into it.
Oh, okay. And Christian Rish Victor, I'm sorry, Kristen, I think I always say your name wrong, but Anne is in my top 5. Oh, very nice. But which Anne? Anne of Green Gables? Anne of Avonlea? Road to Avonlea? Which one? I guess Anne. So only those.
Anne isn't in Road to Avonlea. Very disappointing.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the reasons I never watched it. But we're not. You know what? Speaking of things that we don't like, let's get into our dislikes about Anne of Green Gables. Spin that, Francisco.
Worst clothes.
But I will tell you, Marilla and Rachel Lynde is in Road to Avonlea.
What? Why isn't Matthew in it?
He died. They're in age, yeah.
What? Well, he could do like a ghost of.
Yeah, he's gonna Obi-Wan Kenobi it. Sure.
Do it. All right. Well,
Marilla, you need more brown sugar. Go buy 20 pounds more.
I'm thinking that's so much. And why? How is it that she just has a sack ready at 20 pounds? Is that like a standard measure or something?
Yeah. It's for them rich folks.
I guess. A whole $1. Okay. I'll start us off with the things we didn't like. It wasn't the 20 pounds of sugar.
You're not going to kick us off?
No.
Usually say you kick us off.
Yeah, I'm not, Paul. Ha. Play it anyway. That figures. Okay. So the thing this is my first dislike because I feel like it's a necessary evil. And that's Rachel Lynde. Or Rachel Lynde.
I love, yes. She's someone that you love to not like, yeah.
Yeah, she's a super annoying character, and I realize that she's a foil for other characters to either, like, go up against or to, like, she's, like, the one that sort of, I think, steers Diana's mom to being so irate with Anne, and so she sort of has that play of like
she stirs the pot into the negative.
That's a perfect way of playing it. She stirs the pot. So I get why it's I guess an easy way for the filmmakers or maybe even the author. I not having read the books to get characters to do things or to react to it. But I just hated her character so much.
I'll tell you what, the character isn't quite written as forcefully, but when Patricia Hamilton, the actress, really got she loved the role, and they loved the director and everybody loved what they did with it, so they like turned it up a little bit more.
Take this to 11.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. But regardless, I didn't like her in the movies. So
you didn't like her character, not the actress who played it,
fine job,
but you didn't like the character.
The character,
all right,
exactly.
Sounds like the actress did a good job. Did you like it at the end where Rachel Lynde gave Anne praise for like doing well in school and all that? Or you tuned out by then? Oh, it's Rachel Lynde.
Exactly. I'm done with this character. I'm not listening anymore. Shanine, what do you wish you could have tuned out of Anne of Green Gables? Some of you disliked.
All right, I'm gonna begin with my caveat that all of my dislikes are like the nitpickiest little things, and like I'm basically an Anne apologist.
Okay.
So all of my dislikes are like kind of.
The line
not
in this
really.
is not that good. Okay, no. So what's the first of the nitpicks?
The first of the nitpicks is at the beginning of the movie anyway, never really believed that Megan Follows was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, me either.
Thank you, because that was my first dislike. She's supposed to be 12 to 16, but she could easily play, I think, 14 to 18. Yeah. But it's really hard to believe. Oh, this is a 12-year-old. Oh, she aged a year? Okay, yeah, I believe that. No, like the subtlety aging.
Have you seen 12-year-olds these days?
Look,
and the rebuttal to that is, it's not these days, Francisco. Well, good point, good point.
Megan was 16 when she played this. She could have easily passed for an 18-year-old. She looked older.
Yeah,
okay?
I looked it up because I was like, she has to be older, and like we're so used to like 25-year-olds playing like 14-year-olds nowadays. I'm like, she's got to be older. And I was so surprised.
She's a college student, right?
16.
Right. Yeah, maybe, I thought she was college age as well. Yeah,
maybe that's what threw me, is that I am so used to older actresses and actors playing younger that to me she honestly looked like she could have been a tween. But
it's not a 30-year-old playing a 15-year-old. I believe it. No, but that was my same dislike. It's like I wish.
Okay.
As
come on, guys, and an awesome classic maker. What's going on here?
As an awesome job as Megan did, it I can't help but wonder if someone a little younger would have helped sell that age more.
Okay. Can you think of anyone like working now, like if they were to do Anna?
You know, actually, thinking back in the 90s when the remake of Parent Trap came out, when you had with Lindsay Lohan, if she had done
Lindsay Lohan's always been in her mid-20s. What are you talking about?
No, you need to rewatch the remake.
I've never seen it, so I'd have to watch the remake.
Yeah, go watch a trailer. But at around that age, she could be like 12. Now they would have had to pause filming because she did not look 16 like within 10 weeks. I don't know many people that do look, can do that age range. There's quite a big development between 12 and 16, rather than like it's more believable between 14 and 18, that kind of thing. So whoever makes this is going to have a really hard time taking it to film and TV. Yeah.
Unless they actually do pause and like wait for the character to age. Yeah, for sure.
Or digitally age him without making him look like a child or something.
Oh, that's a good point. I think they could probably have a better shot of de-aging rather than aging.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's go to you, Valerie. What's something that you didn't like about Anne of Green Gables?
The length is a little long. It's a silly thing, but it's not a movie I can put on when I have the entire evening or the entire afternoon, because at 3 hours you have to really invest the time.
Over 3 hours.
Yeah. 19 minutes, in fact, over 3 hours.
Yeah, and if you pause it to go to the bathroom or get a drink, it's longer.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's just one of these where it's almost, you can't just pick up and watch it. And so it sounds like it's a movie where you don't want to just start in the middle. You want to like devote an evening to it. Valerie.
If you've never seen it before, I'm sorry, Val, you can say.
No, that's
If you've never seen it before, you can't start in the middle. But if you have seen it before and you like this, then I think it's one of those that you could start out anywhere and you can just like you're flipping through, let's say, and it's on, like, yeah, you can start. But
it's originally a mini series, so I think there's very clear, like, oh, this is where the first night ended, this is where the second night ended.
It's in half. It's over an hour and 45 minutes per episode. It's ridiculously long.
I thought it was like an hour and an hour or 50. No. Okay. No, that makes more sense, actually.
Yeah. So you might as well just Lord of the Rings and watch it all the way through.
All right. Fine, Paul. I'm curious, Shanine, did the length be something that dissuades you from watching this, or was there something else that you don't like about Anne of Green Gables?
I don't mind the length. I'm okay with starting and stopping.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's kind of like a book. You can't.
Or a podcast. Yeah. Hint, hint. Pause now.
Come back later. Welcome back, people who just paused.
Welcome back from your pausing. Continue, please, Janine.
Again, super nitpicky, but occasionally some of the acting was a bit stiff or a bit over the top. Ooh. I think I noticed it the most between like Anne and Marilla when Anne first arrived at Green Gables. And then during the Lady of Shalott reenactment, Ruby Gillis was just wild.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She died. She died.
Her acting, I'll tell you, I'm sorry. I agree with her, but with her overreacting. Before she's freaking out that she thought she died, I was like, okay, I can see like, okay, yeah, she needs a few more lessons in acting. But then when she's freaking out, I'm like, this is popcorn time. Like,
The way she was
she
like
went
waving
there, like,
her arms running down the road.
which is totally believable as these are like young teenage girls. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, I think the character in the book was really over the top and over dramatic. Do you remember Shanine?
Oh yeah, she definitely was.
Yeah, I totally remember that too. So over the top. But yeah, that I didn't really get a sense of that, Shanine, the stiffness or overacting for sure. I didn't really see much stiffness, but that's totally fair. Let's go to Valerie next. What's something you didn't like?
Okay. This is interesting because I adore Anne, but it's actually part of her personality. Her pride and stubbornness drives me crazy. Like, the way that she won't forgive Gilbert, I'm just like, come on. It just frustrates me so much. He goes out of his way to, I mean, he has a few moments where he bugs, he has it coming a little bit, but like at the dance, when he refuses.
Yeah.
But I want to just like, shake it and say, get over it. That's the character though. She was written that way.
Yeah. But that because of that, it leads to my next thing I don't like. And that's this series ends in a love triangle. If you've listened to this podcast at all, you know I hate love triangles.
Wait, it's between Anne and Gilbert.
Diana and Gilbert. Yeah.
Well, Diana said you can have him.
No, she says he's fair game.
Yeah, she wants it. She likes him.
Yeah, and Anne's like, who fell asleep at the end now, Paul? Oh.
Well, speaking of Diana, did you know that she is the great aunt, or she is the great niece of Katharine Hepburn?
Yes.
So Katharine Hepburn went to the director and said, "You got to cast my niece as Anne." Well, she can audition, is what he said. But she had naturally red hair and was actually used to playing Anne on the stage. And
we have naturally
and
red
she
hair.
had
I
to
saw
dye
pictures of her. I thought she had dyed it red.
No, they had to dye her hair black for this, and then put a wig on it, and then they dyed Anne's hair, which gets to my next dislike.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Which is
you had to dye your hair.
And most of the film, or at least a lot of the film, her hair is not as red as it is strawberry blonde. I mean, she makes a big point about how deep and dark and red her hair is. It's kind of disturbing. I mean, when Rachel Lynde points it out and says that it's so red, it looks like, at that moment, it looks like strawberry blonde. And she says it's like carrots. I mean...
Carrots! How dare you!
I'm sorry, Anne, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't look like carrots. Like, it looks... So, I know, like, red hair is hard. Red is really hard to capture in the camera of all the colors. But having it look more strawberry blonde than deeper red, I wish they would have... Since they dyed it anyway, let's push that a little more.
Yeah. Up that to 11. Come on.
Yeah.
Maybe... You know what? Maybe dyeing, like hair dye technology, was only in its infancy back whenever this was filmed.
Yeah, in the early 1900s.
Yeah, exactly.
When they turned the hair green.
Yeah, it's amazing they had color film back then. I'm surprised. You'd think they could dye the hair, but all right.
Yeah, this documentary. Yeah.
Exactly. You know how I read the books before I saw the movie. So in my imagination, her hair was bright or deep red, because that's what the book goes over and over that. So when I saw the actress, I was a little disappointed. I mean, I like Megan Follows, no complaints, but I can't think of anyone who would have done a better job. But I was like, that's not truly red hair.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what was not truly the best thing? I'm crashing and burning with this segue. Yeah, pretty much. So let's just say we'll go to the things we hated most about Anne hated being called carrots. What are the things we hated most about Anne of Green Gables?
Good segue.
Yeah, that was
You
much
recovered
better.
well. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to start with mine because I'd be curious if you guys agree. So I think, Valerie, you mentioned how long this movie is. And for me, I feel like this movie's or miniseries is paced really well. I was like invested the whole time, except
here comes.
Or when-
I feel a fabulous fan fiction coming up.
actually no.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's just something I really
Just completely edit it out.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's in the books, but whatever. But I hate when Diana gets sloshed. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
she's drunk. She's apparently had Marilla's red cordial before, or wherever it's called. I forget if it's current or cordial, whatever it is. And then she drinks what Anne serves her, and she's like, "Oh, this is good." She's not like, "Well, this tastes off. This is no timeout. I'm gonna go."
All right, I'll wait till you're done.
Yes,
All
wait till I'm
right.
done.
All right.
And so I wish she had like the
wherewithal.
wherewithal to be like, yeah, this is off, and maybe I shouldn't drink this. And so I think this movie for me screeches to a halt here, but I think it may just be because of this inconsistency in someone's mental ability. And so it's not really like there isn't really a pacing issue here in actuality, but for me there is. So that's my most hated thing about this film is when Diana just gets drunk. Okay, Paul, go ahead.
I'll tell you
Why
where
am I
you're
wrong?
mistaken, sir.
All right. Please.
All right. You probably are used to mass-produced drinks and food where it's all bottled and canned and all the drinks taste the same each time.
I make all my own drinks, Paul.
Sure. So it's kind of like Kool-Aid, where if you remember back in the day, and this is a poor example, but or cookies or whatever you want to do, each batch tastes a little bit different.
No.
Yeah, well,
they
you need to
didn't.
go back in the 1900s when things were made from scratch, not like everything is evened out and all like mass-produced in
You're
the
telling me
same
they
quantities.
did recipes back then?
Well, that's what I mean. It's
recipes the same amount each time.
But it doesn't always taste the same each
I
time.
guess you know what, the berries can be different year to year. That's true. Yeah.
Very good point.
Mm-hmm. So all right.
The defense rests their case. Thanks for our star witness, the captain himself, with the berries.
I imagine though you can taste alcohol though when there's alcohol.
Not if you're
content.
not well.
She's never had it before, though.
Some people claim they can't taste it. I certainly can. It tastes like somebody poured like cleansing liquid in my
there's like
punch.
this heat to it on the back of your tongue. Like I remember when I would drink like very sugary liqueurs. I mean, you taste the alcohol. It's there. You can't not taste it.
Maybe she thought it was like the berries were like a little too ripe or something.
All right, fine. So for whatever reason, that's my tragic maker.
Drunk girls getting drunk. Underage girls getting drunk. You would get along well with Rachel Lynn. I'm surprised that you didn't like her.
Janine, tell Paul why my tragic maker is right, because I'm sure yours is the same, right?
No.
Oh,
Disappoint, but
okay. What did you dislike more?
All right. This is actually a part of the movie that I really enjoy, but I think it's one of the bigger discrepancies between the book and the movie.
Oh, okay.
So, as a book lover, that always does grind your gears a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think there's just too much romance and drama between Gilbert and Anne.
Oh, there isn't as much
too
in the book.
much.
There's not.
Oh,
I think the focus of the book is really Anne's relationships with like everyone on the island, especially like Matthew, Marilla, Diana,
of course. Yeah.
and like her growth and belonging and things like that. And her romance with Gilbert doesn't really blossom until the later books.
Okay.
It's like hinted at and stuff, and there's like the hatred between them and things and the rivalry.
Yeah.
But there's not as much drama in the books as there is in the movie.
Got it. That makes sense. I like that I wish it could have flowered, but I know it flowers more in Anne of Avonlea, the next movie. But yeah, I just hated that. I think I would have appreciated if it was pulled back on and there was less romance. I think I would have liked it just as much. But that's totally fair, Shanine. Thank you. Let's go to Valerie next. Was the introduced romance something you didn't like? Was that your tragic maker or something else?
I love the romance. That's really a drama. I mean, it frustrated me, of course, that she wouldn't forgive him, but that scene on the lake where, he read her, I thought it was hilarious. And I think that they're equals. I think they're intellectual equals, and they both have a lot of spunk. And so I loved their friendship. As much of it, wasn't really a friendship, but you know what I mean. But my tragic maker, and this, I don't hate anything about Anne of Green Gables, but I felt like the ending was a little bit.
How about this part where Diana gets drunk? That's something worth hating.
No, I don't mind it.
Okay, fine.
Would you like to have nasty things said about you?
It's the ending. It's very sweet, but it was frustrating for me because there was this build-up, and maybe you're right, Shane, that it was overdone, but there was a build-up between her and Gilbert, and I was rooting for them because I like Gilbert, and so I kind of wanted them to kiss. And I understand why they didn't, because like you said, it's not yet in the books, right? It hadn't happened yet, but I wanted that finale with the kiss because I know that some people probably wouldn't watch the sequel, and if you do read the books and the sequels, their romance to me is so beautiful and so amazing. And so I wanted that hint. I know what happens later, and so I'm like, come on, get have a little kiss or something. It was very anticlimactic.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
How dare you, Paul? But okay, yeah, and that's totally fair. I honestly incepted them or decepted a memory of them kissing at the end, so I was surprised that they didn't. But
I gotta say, while watching it, I don't think he earned the kiss. I don't think he even earned the right to call her carrots after that.
Really?
Oh yeah, like if I was her and he called me that, I was like, all right, we're starting over at square one, buddy.
I think she had grown to the point of accepting that name, though,
but I don't know. I need more than 3 hours. Now she lived like three or plus years to get used to it. But as an audience member watching it, I'm like, let's be a little as subtle as it was. I would appreciate something a little more subtle, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, all right, that's fair. What did you? What was the most unappreciated thing for you about this film, though, Paul? Let's end with you for Treasure Makers.
To me, the worst thing about Anne of Green Gables from 1985 is that
it doesn't have a DeLorean.
Right. There's no Doc Brown. There's no. It's that the modern, even back then. I was about to say the modern going audience TV, whether you're watching on TV or movie, and if you're in like Japan or Europe or wherever this was released.
Yes.
It's too long and slow and boring.
Oh like
a lot of people I don't think would have the patience for this. It's not like you said, it's not action packed. It's not heavy on the drama. It's very long, and I think it would turn a lot of people off. Even though that a lot of people like it, I think it's just not in that taste to appeal to the more general audience because of that.
I mean, I could see that. I guess. I mean, for me, like I said, I felt like it clipped along. All the characters I was very engaged in, and why it was.
Yeah, but if you were to say, hey, you want to watch a movie about a girl that's like coming to age, and it's 3.5 hours long, and it feels that long.
Except it doesn't feel that long.
It does.
It doesn't.
It can.
I guess if it's weird because if you said like some other movie, it'd be like, but if you said Anne of Green Gables, I might be like, oh yeah. I guess we'll see what we really feel, how we really feel about this in our final rating. And if you're done, Paul, I'll go ahead and kick us over there. Oh gosh. All right. Now that we've entered our trajectories into the firing computer, Alice, you have a firing solution for us.
Let's get that salvo authority ready.
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
All right, guys. And for the moment of truth, do we rate Anne of Green Gables from 1985? A classic, we'd recommend anyone go see this, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth seeing again if you saw it as a kid or a young adult. But if you've never seen it before, probably pass this one by. Or is it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time to watch. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. I'm going to start with Valerie. This time, what is your final rating for Anne of Green Gables? We had all predicted classic, but what was your final rating, Valerie?
Classic, which is high for me because she's my favorite author, and I am a little bit more loyal. I'm more loyal to the book than the movie because I experienced it first, but I still absolutely love the movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Okay, so classic from Valerie. How about you, Shanine? What was your final rating?
Oh, classic. I'll
Classic
recommend
as
Anne
well.
in any form to everybody.
Have you seen other other film iterations of Anne of Green Gables, or is this your only one?
Like the old black and white ones?
There's black and white
I
ones?
haven't.
Yeah.
I started watching Anne with an E.
Mhm.
I guess I don't recommend that one as much.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's say the book or the movie.
You have
I
this
recommend.
one. Yeah. You have the book. You have this one. That's all you need. All right.
Yeah.
Very fair. Before we go to Pollinize, we ask you all that support us on Locals what your final rating is, and we sort of average those out. And if we were to do that, we would get a nostalgic. So we had averaged together. The ratings are nostalgic from Locals. So we have 2 classics and a nostalgic. Paul, what is your final?
All right, let's see if we can push that, keep that away from the classic. I don't see how, because I rated a classic. Because it's even as long as this is, I think it's like the Lord of the Rings movie. I think it's better, the longer version. Think of this as the extended version and just watch it. It's great. I recommend it to anybody. As slow and as long as it is, I'd say if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. Carve out the time. I'm not saying it's an absolute must, but if you're into slow, delightful, charming little movies, then give this a watch.
So, but I feel like slow and boring's a disqualifier for you, or is that not for classic movies?
Not in this case. This is one of the exceptions.
One of the exceptions to the rule. All right,
it's quite exceptional.
Practically perfect in every way. All right, very fair. And I guess that leaves me. I don't know, guys. That Rachel Lynn really got under my skin, but not so much to make this anything other than a classic. Because I enjoyed this through and through. It was such a delightful film to revisit. I would definitely recommend it. I'm trying to get Ashley. I was hoping she'd watch it with me. She wasn't interested. I'm hoping maybe my kids will watch it, but we'll see. I think for kids their age, they're currently 11 and 7. This might be. That's the age I saw it at, but for them, this generation, it might be too.
That's
slow
what
and
I'm
boring.
saying. But a lot of films in the 80s were
Yeah.
slow and boring.
Yeah, but 3 hours, a 3-hour A's versus a 2001, a 3-hour 2001 is a bit different. Not 2001: A Space Odyssey, but movies in 2000,
like Lord of the Rings,
Exactly.
2001.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, with all our reigns combined, we are Captain Planet. With all our reigns, the Retro Rewind podcast rates Anne of Green Gables a slightly disputed classic film / miniseries. We'd recommend anyone go and see it, whether or not you've seen it before. But now it's
who
time
voted on
to
Locals? Let's
get
take names.
back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX?
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1985 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflex capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, Rosie Lomax, That's Our Babo, D Tungsten, Dale, Mr. Lost, Gerald Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Redeemed Otaku, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support. And I will say, in that regard, we are going to be doing what I'm calling a support-a-thon, which on April 16th, we're currently recording this in 2023. On April 16th, 2023, I'm going to be doing a live stream. It can go as short as 6 hours. It could go up to 12 hours long on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. And
you
every
can
time
watch this 4 times then.
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. That's all I'm going to do is just watch this movie. You get to watch me watching
You
this.
should
No, not at all.
Or watch all 3, and then you have little breaks in between. That should cover it.
I'm not doing that. Don't worry.
Boo!
I recently completed every game that comes stock on the SNES Classic, the little mini system. There's 21 games. And on April 16th, I'm doing a boss rush. So trying to beat every boss with a limited number of lives and seeing if I can do that in that time frame. Every time there's a new support on locals, we'll do a wheel spin. It could like take one of my lives away. It could increase the length of the stream. It could do all sorts of effects.
What?
And
That's amazing. It could do that.
It is. Are you being facetious?
No,
I'm not
I'm
sure.
being real. Like, how
Okay.
does that even work? I'm in my living room, and I can make you die or extend your stream. It's amazing.
Not really die.
No, not die, but the character on your that you're playing.
You don't make me die. You have me. So I start with 21 lives, and if you there's a new supporter on locals, I'll lose a life. So if I get down, I could potentially have 1 life to beat all the bosses, and that seems completely impossible.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because every time, let's say I beat 5 bosses, and I go through them with 21 lives.
Okay, so it's not as interactive as
No.
okay.
No, not what you.
All
Not
right.
how
Sorry.
This isn't Nick Arcade, Paul.
Yeah.
Jeez. But there you have it.
All right. Also a little bit behind the scenes. I think it's quite interesting, quite cool that we're reviewing a story about a red-haired girl, and we're recording it on St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
So happy St. Patrick's Day,
Happy
everybody.
St. Patrick's Day, absolutely. 2023.
This stream is sponsored by pauljpowers.com.
And while we're let's continue that thinking train, that gratitude train going, as we also want to give a big, let's say, Canadian hug.
Canadian.
They're so nice, don't you know? Yeah. First of all, to Shanine Thompson for coming and sharing your thoughts about Anne of Green Gables. Is there anything cool you got going on, and how can people find you online to find out?
You can follow me on Twitter at The Hoot and Howl or Instagram at Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES. I will be blogging over at thehootandhowl.wordpress.com. Website currently under construction, but be talking about geeky things and faith over there. And I also podcast on First Geek 411. You can find us on Twitch every Monday night.
Nice.
Very cool. Speaking of websites, I should have said a big reason we're doing the support-a-thon is to help hopefully raise some money to go toward a website improvement that we're trying to do. So
we're trying to help Shanine with her blog to get that up and going.
I'm not that altruistic, Paul. No, this is all about Retro Rewind.
Oh, you mean Retro Rewind podcast page?
Exactly.
We also need a reboot, I guess, huh?
Yes. Everyone, it's the season of reboots.
All right. And let's moving on. Let's keep the gratitude train going. Thank you so much to my wife, Valerie Powers, for joining us and sharing your thoughts about Anne of Green Gables. Where can people find you online?
I'm on Instagram as Hazel-Eyed Gen Xer.
Cool.
Nice. Very cool. Thank you so much to Shanine. Thank you. Fine, Edna mode it out. I was looking for the script.
I mean,
Who are you
your feelings,
people?
but you might have thought of that before if you had any imagination.
Thanks for
She can be a bit rude.
I didn't. I should have included that on my dislike. She was rude in that moment.
Yeah. Okay.
I love her though. She's a brat, but I absolutely love her.
A lovable brat.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shanine. Thank you so much, Valerie, my awesome green shirted friend Paul, and all you rewinders, new and old, for another fun voyage with us.
You're welcome. And you can find me, pauljpowers.com, at pauljpowers.com.
Whoa. And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Where's that voice coming from? Anyway.
The ship. It's the soul of the ship.
That deep voiced leprechaun just said we're part of Culture Box Media Network, and he's absolutely right. Find out all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at leprechauns.fun. No, it's at culturebox.media. And with that, Captain, it looks like we need to wait for the next riddle to unlock.
Indeed.
Hopefully.
Thank you, XO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we got to catch you all for the next episode and help us figure out what that should be, what that's going to be by solving our riddles from our ship's logs on the next episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Fourth dimension of D mission complete. Decoding next riddle. View RRP ship's logs for more details.
Bye! Bye, Miss Mary! Thank you for everything!
It was lovely having you here.
Bye!
All righty. Thank you so much, Ashley, for getting the kiddos down. Shanine, Valerie, Paul, if you need to take a quick water break or bathroom break, go for it. And then when you're done, we'll come back and do the spiritual speculation section.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, Paul. Are you actually going to be right back?
Yeah.
Okay. Shanine, how long have you been doing the First Geek 411 podcast?
I believe I joined in summer of 2020, if I'm recalling correctly.
How did you get in? Was it going before you were you like one of the founding co-hosts, or was it going before you?
No, Cameron and Chris started it.
Which one's the guy that always has the still image? He's like going like this or something.
Oh, that's Chris. He hasn't been with us for a while. He's been busy, but hopefully he will be coming back soon. But
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. How did you get involved with them?
I think Cameron and I just connected on social media, being in those geeky Christian spheres.
Yeah.
And then I was on to guest
nice.
For one episode. And then like right away they were like, hey, we're looking to expand our cast. Do you want to join?
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm so sad that Fern Gully has yet to come up on this whole thing. I think that's one of the original ones I reached out to you about. Hey, when we do this, would you like to be on? And I also want to say thank you for not holding it over our heads that we never got back to you about that article you asked us to write forever ago. I still feel bad about it, but thank you
all
for
good.
your grace with us.
I'm so glad I could finally be on. Years in the making.
Right?
So fun.
There's a couple people like that apparently they've been wanting to be on for a while and I had no idea. So I'm glad that you're able to finally come on. You'll vote it up, Ashley. All right, for Fern Gully. Yeah. Next year, 2024. I guess that could be for anime, huh? Yeah, that could be.
Have me.
Have you?
You want me on it too. I have to continue my streak of anime into the
Oh
fourth or fifth year.
my word. Yeah. Ashley's been on like every anime for the past since it started or just since 2019. 2020.
Since 2020.
2020.
It started
Okay.
in 2020.
All right.
2020.
That's crazy. I hear someone back. Valerie, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Apple Dance says Ferngully is a movie I've actually watched, so I vote for. Oh, nice, Apple Dance. Very cool. Yeah, Apple Dance and let's see, Ashley, Fresh, Star Fox, and June Curry, I think. Welcome. Thank you for joining the Rewinders. Let's see who else is here.
Star Fox is here?
Yeah.
Do a barrel roll.
Thank you all for hanging out. Oh, D Tungsten, of course. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. Hopefully you're enjoying
I
the
hope
show.
I didn't offend you, Star Fox.
Hey, Einstein, I'm on your side.
You know what? I'm shaking my head, but secretly I'm just jealous that I don't have those to play.
It's fun.
A thumbs up if you guys are ready to get into the spiritual speculation section.
Yep.
Okay. You're making
Yeah,
me
it's a
think
yes.
of the Bog of Eternal Stench over there, Paul.
Yeah. No, it's the depths of despair.
Oh my gosh. To despair is to turn your back on God. All right. Then we will get started here. And make sure there's no one saying anything.
Wait for it.
Stay far, far away from the bog of eternal stench.
I assume you've seen Labyrinth, but maybe that's a false assumption, Shanine. Have you seen that movie?
Seen it once, a very long time ago.
Okay.
Thank you, Arnold. All right.
I'm sorry.
Good. I appreciate the apology.
Yeah.
All right. We'll start in 5, 4, 3.
Wait for it.
1. Welcome, Reflex Capacitors, to another spiritual speculation where we take a look at the spiritual themes and questions that the movies and games we cover on the podcast prompt us to think about. Tonight, this speculation is going to be come after the review we just did on Anne of Green Gables, which you can listen to that review at retrorewindpodcast.com/274. You don't have to have listened to that, but sometimes like inside jokes and things will carry over into spiritual speculation. So if you want the whole pizza pie, listen to that first. But
Hey, pizza is the same color as carrots.
oh my gosh,
How dare you!
I should have seen that sound drop coming. Anyway, before we get into the speculation, though, let's go around real quick and break the I was gonna say faith ice, but never mind.
The
We're gonna break
ice,
that.
ice baby.
Yeah, okay. With let's share who we are, what our faith life was like growing up, and what we currently believe today. So my name is Francisco. I was raised Presbyterian and currently a non-denominational Protestant Christian. Let's go to Shanine next.
I'm Shanine. I was raised Baptist and wow, I'm blanking right now.
No worries.
Alliance. That's the word I was looking for.
Christian Missionary Alliance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that what you were raised in, Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, no. I'm sure you were raised on a train stop, waiting for a brother and sister. to
Oh,
come
we'll
pick you
get there.
up. Okay, good. Valerie, how about you?
I'm Valerie, and I was raised Protestant Christian and still am.
Very cool. Okay, Paul, give it to us. Here we go.
So I was an orphan raised from going from foster home to foster home, and finally I found Jesus, and now I'm adopted into the family of God.
Okay, that wasn't half bad.
Not true, though. You were not in foster homes.
Maybe he visited a foster home. Anyway, awesome, guys. All right, so let's start with Shanine. What as you're watching Anne of Green Gables, what spiritually speaking did this movie prompt for you to think about or to ask a question about?
I was thinking about how we connect to God through beauty and joy.
Oh, yeah. So
through his creation, or through just like looking at myself in the mirror, which is also his creation.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I think all of the above. I think
Oh,
Anne
good-
is just an
good answer.
appreciator of beauty
Yeah.
everywhere.
That's fascinating you said that, Shane, because I last weekend I was on a men's retreat, and the sort of the overarching topic was on beauty and imagination. And one of the thrusts of one of the sessions was about how we we can experience truth through beauty. I guess the way he sort of encapsulated for me, the speaker encapsulated for me, that I thought was really helpful, was that if you know how if you have sugar is sweet. Like the effect of sugar is sweetness.
Sugar.
So when you experience sweetness, it's pointing to the sugar that's the cause. That's one way. Not that I'm not trying to say that every sweetness is caused by sugar. I'm just saying that if you're experiencing sweetness,
Yeah, high
it points
fructose
to-
corn syrup. That's some sweet stuff.
I knew it was gonna unravel on me. But likewise, the effect of truth is beauty. Like beauty is like the sweetness of the truth of sugar. If he's the analogy much better than I did. But yeah, we, like you were saying, there is so much beauty and joy in this film, and we do get to experience some of how God made everything, especially getting to see actual on location shots, not just a bunch of like in soundstage shots that never really existed. Valerie or Paul, what do you make of this? What Shanine said about experiencing
I'll
joy
let
and
Val
beauty.
go first before I steer it off topic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Anne loves beauty and imagination, and I think that God does too. And yeah, I love her appreciation for nature.
Mm-hmm.
And on a different note, though, before Paul gets started, I liked the scene where Marilla is teaching Anne to pray, because
I love it.
because she doesn't say. I mean, she does give her the Lord's Prayer, which is kind of a basic example of what she can do. But she also says, "Tell him whatever you want, you think and want. Like, speak from your heart." And I love that she didn't say you have to say A, B, C, D. So I like.
Yeah, it gave her ownership over the prayer she was going to say, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I will also add to the whole beauty element that it's Anne is always reading and even performs poetry, and there's such beauty in poetry too. And I think that's really another way she experitions beauty. Go ahead,
I think
Paul.
Dr. Seuss is beautiful too.
Yeah, he is. Man, that cat in the hat, such a fine looking cat.
They're beautiful poems. There's several things there, boy. Which, going back to what Shanine said about the beauty, I agree to a point, but I'll get to that later. But it reminds me of Anne, how she was so focused on her looks and her hair. It reminds me of this 1 Peter 3:3-4, where it says, your beauty should not come from outward adornments, such as braided hair or the wearing of gold on your jewelry and fine clothes. Instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. So, beauty can be found in different places, not only in the nature, but also within, especially if it's reflecting God's beauty in nature.
Yeah, because true. I mean, I don't. I almost like. I don't want to say true beauty, but I guess if
like
God is truth and truth reflects beauty, so God is.
But truth is in the
beautiful.
eye, or no, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
See, I don't know how. I feel like there's a
fundamental. Okay, so
there's a objective beauty and subjective beauty is how I would put it. Is that what you're gonna say, Paul?
Mincing words, I don't know. Between the two, one of the things that we can agree on is that Lucifer, before he fell, was known as like the most beautiful angel, supposedly, of all. So this is where I steered away. So Satan or Lucifer was beautiful, but that didn't help him in his fall. So at what point is beauty worth anything? Because it almost seems worthless in that regard. Like, well, like, well, if Satan's beautiful or if Lucifer was beautiful, so what? Like, that didn't.
Well, it's not so much.
God created
Oh, go ahead. Val.
beauty. Sorry.
Say that
God
again?
created nature, which is beautiful. So obviously God values beauty. I think it's.
But is that because we think? Is it beautiful because we think it's beautiful, or is it? Do I think it's beautiful, therefore it's beautiful?
I
That's
think
a hard question.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, Shanine, how do you answer that, Shanine or Valerie? Either of you.
I think, beauty, when you're worshiping beauty for beauty's sake, is dangerous. But when you are looking at that beauty and it is pointing you to a deeper truth, being God, that's when it is valuable.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
well
with
said.
with Lucifer, he was looking. Yeah, he was like, his beauty was becoming his idol, or a contributing factor to his own self-idolization. So his choice to want to ascend to God wasn't like a choice to be necessarily more beautiful than God. But that was, so his beauty wasn't the sin. His sin was, and the reason he fell was because he is trying to be greater than God. Yeah. I also, similar to that, and this came from my mentor tree conversation. I was asking about the fruit in the Garden of Good and Evil. It says that it was pleasing to the eye when Eve saw it, and I was like, so what do we do with when beauty sort of is almost like a faux beauty, or isn't really beautiful? Well,
it doesn't mean it isn't beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And people said it wasn't really about that. It probably was beautiful, and God made it so. But it was the action we took in our own hearts to think that God was holding out on us, or that we want to, we knew better than God. And so when the humans in the action of taking it is the sinful part, not the fruit itself, as beautiful as it is. I mean, there's beautiful red berries on bushes out here, and they look just so nice. Yeah, exactly. But they're, I'm sure, way poisonous. So just another. Where's this from?
Return to Oz. We just covered it.
I forgot about that.
Anyway,
we didn't just cover it. That was like a couple.
That was
months
like
ago
2
now.
seconds ago.
It wasn't 2 seconds ago.
Yes. There, just went 2 seconds ago where we covered it.
Oh, you know what? Right. I can't believe I couldn't remember. Wow. Jeez Louise.
Anyway. But I think, if you put beauty, any of us can make it a god. Anything that we put above God, we can make, which is dangerous to put anything above God. So, and we can easily do that with beauty because it's so beautiful.
I have yet to hear a exception to this rule, which there may be, but that good things can become bad idols. And so something can be very good, and God made it good. But if we make it,
is God good?
Yes.
Then God cannot become a bad idol. There's your exception. That just goes to show you that God is also exceptional.
Any other thoughts you had to say about that, Shanine, or things you wanted to mention about? Oh, go ahead, Valerie.
Are you there, Val?
Oh, me or Shanine?
I thought you were about to say something, Valerie. So, yeah, we can hear you now. What were you going to say before I was letting Shanine have the final word on this?
I thought you were asking.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say it kind of reminds me of money. I don't think that money is sin, but there is a sin. So, you can use, even people who are wealthy can use the resources you've got to help people, or they can let it become an obsession. And so it's similar to how beauty can be.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Any other thoughts that you had on that, Shanine, before we move on to another Another topic?
Yeah, I think another way to illustrate like the importance of beauty is just how Anne really connects with God through it.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, we see that she's not very knowledgeable about God or even interested because she thinks he's stuffy and like punishing her with ugliness.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And red hair.
But yeah.
That looks like carrots. Sorry, Anne.
But she loves beauty. And I think she comes to see that God also loves beauty. And she's then able to connect with him and realize that God isn't who she thought he was all along. And that
in the books, is there more of a like
spiritual growth
on Anne's part? Like I got a lot of a sense of like spiritual maturity from Marilla. I'm just curious if that type of thing that happens.
Well, I got
with
more
Anne.
spiritual pyness rather than, oh, you don't know the Lord? Well, let's introduce you.
Yeah, but throughout the series, there's a lot more
cool
spiritual themes and things like that.
Okay, nice.
But I certainly enjoyed the spiritual humor too.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Valerie, what's spiritually speaking did this movie prompt for you?
Oh, I had mentioned the prayer thing. I'm sorry, I was early on that. That was
good.
My
It flowed it well.
And another idea too, but I'm feeling that it's Paul's, so I'm going to wait till after he goes. Because he actually pointed something out in the movie, and I thought, oh, that's really interesting, but I have a feeling he's going to use it as his.
Okay, well, hopefully I'll undercut Paul and use this. And
You already did.
What? I did? Oh, no.
No, go for it.
I actually got a lot of, having watched this, I got a lot of, I don't know if you call it parallelism or parallels.
Parallelograms.
Yeah, them too. With this story in the book of Ruth, in that toward the end, Anne could have gone away to college, but she decides to stay back with Marilla, her adoptive mother, to help her care for the farm, care for Green Gables, so she doesn't have to sell it. She doesn't have to leave her home, which I know is a little different because, well, no, they go back to Israel. And so what's the mom's name? Ruth's mother-in-law's name? Naomi. Naomi. So Naomi is home. She tells Ruth, no, go back to Moab. But Ruth stays with her. And I just thought this was a beautiful similarity to the book of Ruth. And then she stays and ends up being with Gilbert. And and then Gilbert
I get the
and
connection
Anne,
now. Sorry, it took me a while.
They give birth to Perez, which then gives birth to George Washington down the line, and we get the
COVID-19. And there we are, folks.
George Washington's way before this. I'm getting my timelines confused.
Yeah. Don't worry. That happens to us time travelers.
It happens. No, but I'm curious. Did this story, for any of you, did it bring any other stories from the Bible to mind like that, or does Ruth sound like? Oh yeah, it does seem like most like Ruth.
Is there a story that reminds us, like, oh, there's it sounds more like this than Ruth, or just
yeah, exactly, or like, oh no, well, Francisco, I see what you're saying about Ruth, but you know what? This really made me think of the plagues of Egypt way more for some reason.
Yeah, when Anne fell in the water, was drowning. It reminded me of her red hair turning the water to blood of the plagues. Absolutely.
Paul. Okay,
No.
thanks, Paul. No.
Gotta think. Was there splitting babies? No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not fine.
Gideon, where he's drinking up the water? No. Sorry, nothing's
Let's
coming to mind.
continue on. So was the so yeah, it just reminded me of Ruth. And if you have any thoughts on that, feel free to share. But there wasn't really much of a question. I just thought it was a beautiful similarity that I saw.
No,
I
I'm
hadn't thought of it, but I think it's a beautiful thought. Oh, I like the thought, Francisco.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the affirmation. All right, Paul, give it to us.
All right. Would you rather be, if you had the choice, divinely beautiful or dazzlingly clever or angelically good?
Is this your actual one, or you're just being
No,
silly?
this is the icebreaker question.
Okay. All right. I would say, I guess angelically good. If I'm choosing.
All right.
Though
Janine,
all angels aren't good because Satan was an angel.
but okay, the non-fallen angelically good.
Okay.
If you mean angelically good, obviously it's the non-fallen ones.
That's a good point. Okay. Janine.
Divinely beautiful, dazzling clever, or angelically good.
I know.
wanna
Like
step
Matthew
mine.
and Anne, it's very hard to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of me now wants to walk it back and go with dazzlingly clever, but I'll hold firm to good.
I mean,
do
to hurt your
lean
feelings, but
towards
you might have thought of
clever.
that before if you had any imagination.
Well, Shanine's thinking, Valerie, what would you choose?
I have to go with angelically good, but my second choice would be clever. I understand your your debate there.
Yeah.
For me, it was a doozy, but I'm gonna have to go the boring way and just rest on angelically good, and hope that it all works out in the end. Because if I could be divinely beautiful and just be like really stupid and really bad and have everything bad happen to me, or I could be really clever but still be bad and still be ugly, but
It doesn't mean you're going to be those
but if I'm
things.
angelically good, then I'll follow and submit to God, and then I'll make it to heaven and live happily ever after. So
Well, no, it didn't say saved. It just said angelically good. That doesn't mean you're saved.
well, and angels that are good are saved from the wrath of God.
I don't think they're saved. They're just not going to be in the wrath of God.
Yeah.
That's different.
Okay, on a technicality. Oh, she meant I should become an angel and therefore not need the wrath of God. I'm sure that's what the intention was.
Yes, I'm sure. Janine,
No, it's a doozy of a question. But
do you have one that you would pick?
I think I lean towards clever.
Okay. Yeah.
It's awfully clever of you
Totally.
to say that.
Geez. I totally get that.
But also, if you're divinely beautiful, a lot of beautiful people get a lot of good things for free. So you don't have to be clever or good, but you just live the better life.
But all the things here will rust and be eaten by moth, Paul. So that's
even Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks fade.
Yeah.
Looks are fleeting.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what if they aren't? Just ask
like
Satan.
you I think he lost his beauty, Paul.
Well, we don't know. He can
I guess-
disguise himself as an angel of light. Probably angelically good.
Oh my gosh.
No, I think beauty is a part of God. I don't think Satan's beautiful anymore.
Well, there's a lot of sin that looks very beautiful to me.
But again, it's like what we do
Like
in
the
the face
fruit
of that.
on the tree.
Exactly, Paul. Yes. I mean, I suppose
That
Satan-
fruit isn't sinful, but eating of it is.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she.
All right, so on to my spiritual speculation.
Oh, yes, because that was the primer.
Yes. So it's good. Like I said, you undercut me. So my spiritual speculation is the quote from Marilla, to despair is to turn your back on God.
Yeah.
All right, let's be apologetics jettises and prove it or disprove it.
All right. Well, let me look up what despair is defined as.
Watch The Princess Bride when he's in that where he's
pit of
taken
despair.
the pit where he's got his life sucked away.
Is that what despair means? Merriam-Webster, the Princess Bride defines despair as. Okay, so Merriam-Webster says despair, utter loss of hope.
Oh, calculus should know.
A cause of hopelessness. That's the noun version. The verb version is to lose all hope or confidence.
So if you lose hope, does that mean you've turned your back on God?
I mean, my gut wants to say yes, but I want to think about that a little bit.
See,
more.
my gut wants to say no, but I think she might be right, because then it's showing a lack of trust in our creator. Like, we're supposed to trust him, like, even though he slay me, yet will I trust him.
Yeah.
So it almost, I go not of despair, of like without hope, but of depression in my head.
Okay.
And some people argue, oh, like, is it, there's so many things, so many verses in the Bible that says, like, don't be discouraged. So then people ask, well, is it a sin to be discouraged?
Yeah, depression.
And
Yeah, it's a good question.
I don't think so. My gut says no, because, like, if we weren't drawn to that feeling sometimes so often, it wouldn't be in the Bible so often.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean neither here nor there. But I want to say that she might be right, Marilla, when she says it's to turn your... I think there's a lack of trust in our creator when we go down that road. But I know that can be harsh, like Marilla.
Yes, very hard.
But that's where I kind of lean. I think... But
Well,
my initial gut reaction is that's wrong. But I don't know. What do you think?
Shanine, what do you think about that? Despair, does that mean turn your back on God? Does it not? What do you think?
I mean, with it being a state of complete hopelessness, I do lean towards, yes, Marilla's right. It is turning your back on God. But I think even in the depths of despair, God is still there with you. And that's
true.
not.
Yeah.
I'm just turning my back on you, God. I know you're right there. I'm just turning my back on you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to say when you're in a time of despair, that's not to say that's it's not
you're living in sin. You need to repent.
It's not the what's called the sin that you can't get over, the blaspheming the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, the unforgivable sin.
Unforgivable sin. Yeah, it's just like I feel like it's sort of just a state you're in, but that doesn't mean you're going to be in it forever, and you can find hope in God again. Now, I think the more spiritual, I'll say spiritual push-ups you've done, the more like you're in the Word, the more you're with fellow believers, the more you're in prayer to God, the less likely you are to. Oh my gosh.
I'm doing my spiritual push-ups. That's why they're laughing. Got to bulk up, bro. Spiritually too, Got to keep in that word. Praying. I've been fasting, believe it or not. Go on, you're good. Go. This is good stuff. You got this, bro.
Okay. If you're
Look, your face is turning almost red as carrots.
I think it's more like beets, but
yeah.
Not again, Ashley, exactly. If you've been doing those spiritual push-ups, I think you're less likely to give in to despair. Though it's still possible. I mean, you can still give into that. Valerie, what do you make of all this?
Okay, so this is personal for me because I've struggled with depression my whole life. It probably will be the rest of my life. But I do have to say that I think technically it is true, and I think that when I'm depressed, my focus is not on God and the hope that He's given me. So, in all honesty, I do think that okay, it's the wording that gets me though. Turn your back on God. If it is, then it's symbolic and it's not It's not conscious. I think that 99%
it's not
of
a complete
people
rejection.
who are depressed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a rejection. Yeah, and 99% of people who are depressed aren't thinking that specifically. They're just feeling. They're not thinking much at all. Honestly, at least for me, that's true. It's not something I'm purposely doing.
Conscious decision. Yeah.
Yeah, it's subconscious, and So yeah, I mean, I would never judge anyone or be hard on anyone for being depressed because I struggle with it myself. But I would say that the focus, in order to get out of depression, your focus has to change to God's hope. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Do you think this? Of course, we never know. We have to ask Montgomery Ward or whatever her name is, the author of the.
Okay.
L.M. Montgomery. But I was about to say, do you think she's so harsh on this subject is because she goes or has gone through it a lot, like not being married and not getting her beau, what's his name's
Gilbert's
Gilbert's
dad,
dad, right?
Yes.
So like she's had to go through the depression and she's had to pull herself by the bootstraps and say, no, we need to get over this because I don't know. It's just something.
Well,
she definitely had a hard life.
Yes, absolutely. Shanine, how do you feel about that? Do you think Marilla's like a poster child for this, or what do you think?
It's speculation.
I think maybe. I think Marilla actually has a lot of similarities with Anne.
Yeah,
she might not want to admit it right away.
Yep. Yeah, because I guess between her and Matthew, she talks the most, and they both have this like holding a grudge.
Yeah,
stubborn. Yeah, absolutely. I get this sense that Marilla, before Anne comes along, she's all like God is all up here, because she knows you're supposed to pray. She knows you're not supposed to despair, but she's living out a life of almost despair. She's just sort of not really engaged much. It seems like she really seems to come a lot more alive, more like her life has purpose when Anne gets on the scene.
I think she's just more focused and like no nonsense rather than because she has friends. Everybody knows her in the community. She makes wine or cordial, and everybody know. So she goes to these political rallies, but so she's not like a hermit stuck in her old ways, like and old and mean to everybody. But yeah, she definitely helps bring her out of her shell. But I could definitely see Marilla being young and being as mischievous as Anne, or almost as mischievous. I don't know if she's as flowery and theatrical as Anne can be sometimes.
Don't think so.
But, but I think they are kindred spirits in other ways.
I'll say Ashley in chat says, depression is hard. I've dealt with it for 15 plus years. Therapy helped, but I ended up needing antidepressants. It's not for everyone, but it's enabled me to be in a place to apply all that I learned in therapy. God saw me through my cycles of depression. Yeah, I think it's when you really... Yeah, thank you, Ashley. And I think there's this element of God will see, just because I think some people will think, similar to despair is turning your back on God. Some people might think if you decide to use medication, you're not trusting God with helping you.
You're going to see a doctor. You should pray about it.
You're paying for existence. Go pray about that. That's a callback to our ship's logs, guys. But no, I mean, that's one of the reasons God gave us doctors and gave us this, brought us to this place of having the sounds we have. I think there is an element of overdiagnosis. There could be that. I don't think that's the case in Ashley, because she was like trying, and was like going for so long trying not to use drugs. But I mean, at the end of the day, if that's what you need, there shouldn't be shame in that, and you're not giving up on God just because you're using those.
Right.
That's like saying, "Oh, you're hungry. You haven't planted anything in the back. God hasn't grown anything in the back for you to eat." Like,
oh, that's an interesting comparison. Yeah.
Like there's some things like you do need help with.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Awesome, guys. This has been quite the conversation. I really enjoyed it. Any other Or were you done, Paul, or was there more to the?
No, I just wanted everyone's thoughts on it because when Marilla first said it, I was shocked. I was like, "Oh, that's not true." And then I thought about it, like, "Oh, I think maybe she is right." So it's just getting the wheels thinking, you know.
Yeah. Do you think there's?
I was like, I never read that first. What translation is that?
Do you think there's? I'm curious. Is there anything in this film? Not sure the books, but the film that struck you as very glaringly anti-God or anti-Christian?
Yeah, the graininess in some of the shots took away from God's beautiful nature. Like it's very trying to block me from God's beauty. That's anti-God.
I know you can't see it, awesome listeners, but I am eye rolling so hard right now.
It went back in his head and rolled over and came out the other side.
Yeah, is that much? Yes.
Yeah. No, something that's like anti-God. I never got an anti-God message in this.
I didn't really either, from what I could tell. I got a lot of very pro, not necessarily pro God's created order is how I'll put it. The way he sort of designed things to be, I felt like this sort of like paid tribute to that and was in accordance with that in a lot of ways. How about Valerie, Shanine? Was there anything glaring for you like, this is like going against how God would have preferred it?
No, not to me. Yeah, the author has a really interesting story. I don't know that she ever came out and said, "No, I'm a believer in Jesus." I don't think she did, but she married a minister.
Oh, really?
So
oh, wow.
I tend to believe I tend to believe she was a believer, and you know, she certainly wasn't against. But she did admit to struggling with depression. Had things I can't remember her exact wording, but it was something along the lines of she had nights of despair where she would just get really depressed. So I do. It was someone mentioned, you know, could that line be almost like her own struggle? I do think she struggled with loneliness and despair throughout her life, and because she had a hard life, and so I wonder, maybe. I mean, again, as someone who's both the author and I have struggled with depression, so it sounds very harsh, but sometimes we're harsh on ourselves and our own weaknesses, you know. So knowing that she struggled with that, she could have been kind of almost telling herself, like, don't give into this. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting to know that deeper dynamic with the author.
Yeah, I feel like there's an element of it makes it sound like Ryan, this Anne series is almost like a type of catharsis. I don't know if that's quite the right word, but a way of like getting out, wanting to pen down and get out all the internal stuff that was going on, and she just did it in this form of a story or a narrative.
Oh yeah, I could go on a long time about that, but it's kind of off topic because it's not spiritual. But yeah, I just the other day after I watched the movie, I researched my favorite author again. Now I feel like I have all this insight on her.
Oh,
it's not. It's awesome. Topic.
No. I mean, I think sometimes I don't know.
We're almost at the 2-hour mark of this recording. Francisco wants to make sure it goes past the 3-hour mark of Green Gables.
Exactly. That's the whole thing we're shooting for here.
Yeah.
No,
or at least line up with it so it can be like a commentary.
So you said, Valerie, that this wasn't a spiritual thing. I'm just curious. I haven't given this a whole lot of thought, but just sort of like as a I want to hear what you guys have to say. Would you say that most of the things we do, just because we are spiritual beings and we're made with a spiritual nature, that the things we do are inherently spiritual, or would you say that's not?
Oh, there's a debate on that. Like,
okay, well,
let's pray about everything, like before you do it. Like, I have to go to the bathroom. Okay, well, before you do, pray. Make sure you don't trip and fall along the way. You know, so like. There is like a balance, but yes, I would say that we are spiritual beings and that there are a lot of repercussions that what we do, there's a lot of repercussions in the spiritual realm. But that doesn't, there's gotta be some things that it's like, okay, let's not take it that far. You know what I mean?
Let's not take it that. Oh yeah. To the extent of like,
where you're not.
I don't want to trip in my next step. Oh, I want to trip in my next step. Let me pray every step type of thing.
Right.
Is that,
Oh, I
yeah.
gotta keep praying that God will keep my heart beating like every second of every day. There's got to be trust. You got to do it to a point where it's not negatively affecting not only your walk but other people's around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
And I'm not saying like your walk I mean you're both physical and spiritual.
What do you think about that, Shanine?
I don't know. I'm just spitting balls here.
Yeah, I think
Spitballs.
being spiritual beings.
All right. Sorry.
being spiritual beings, everything is spiritual, but we don't have to over spiritualize everything.
Yes, that's a good. Yeah.
See, that was much better.
Very well put. Almost like I believe that there are dark forces, there are demons, but reading like demons into everything every bad thing that happens, I think that's over, making it going overboard. So it's that same type of thing, just from the more positive angle, I suppose. Awesome, guys. Well, this, like I said, awesome discussion. Any last thoughts or things that are like welling up in your heart that you have to get out there? Oh, go ahead, Valerie.
Yeah, I want to give my husband a compliment because it came up in my mind when you talked about the balance between, how spiritual is life. I used to think that I do think that balance is important, but I used to think that Christians over-spiritualized everything. But then when I married Paul, he has these really delightful habits of making it, a lot more spiritual than I do. And I found that I actually like it and admire it. For instance, I'll give you examples. He literally prays for a good parking space, and then when he finds it, he thanks God for it. Like he gives God the credit for this. And I've never known anyone else who does that. Another thing he does is he prays against food poisoning. And I thought it was a joke at first, but we talked about it, and he actually is very genuine. He really doesn't want anyone to get sick. And I just think that's really sweet.
Yeah.
That's providence. That's what.
Well, okay. Now you just opened up a can of worms, Paul. Is it do we have to, if it's already providence, do we have to pray for it? Will our praying do anything to affect it?
Prayer changes things.
Okay. So is it then why is it, well, I'm thinking of providence as like God's already established that X, Y, Z is going to happen. Maybe I'm thinking of providence wrong.
Yeah,
okay.
No. Providence comes from the root word to provide. And that God is providing and that he is working in our providence.
Right. What's the difference between provision and providence?
Providence is the noun form of provide. It's the providence of the provision. If that makes sense.
Provision and providence, I think,
are both nouns.
So
yes. But when you give it a capital P, it's in the act that God is providing and that he's working or has worked to make things happen.
Okay.
So, or they're referring to God as providence or his working. Okay. So with that as your foundation, what's your question? Why pray about it if God's already working? Because
I know the answer, but I'm just facilitating.
Well, there's deists. I think it's the deists who believe like in the wind up watch thing where God created the world, he wound up the watch and he let it go and he doesn't intervene. He's providing by things that he's already set in motion long ago. But I believe he's still interacting today. Sending angels and so forth. But that's me.
Shanine, what do you think about that?
Um,
And it's okay, by the way, I should have established, it's okay if you don't have answers to this. We're just speculating. Some of these we may not know this side of heaven, and that's okay. You're just giving your opinion. We're not, this isn't salvation. You're not going to lose your salvation over these types of questions.
But angels are writing down everything we say, so be careful.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's something that I'm still learning more about, but I think prayer is an important way that we enter into relationship and interaction with God and join with him in things.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
Just one more thing is I think that we are so limited in what we understand and what we know and what we see and how we work it all out that we as finite beings in our limited capacity cannot know or fathom the difference prayers actually make in the spirit realm.
Yeah. And I was going to say that.
Oh, sorry. I'll let you speak.
No. Oh, were you not done? Go
No,
for
I
it.
am done.
Okay.
But you said you were going to say that, so I took that.
Well, something like that. I was going to say that God knows what we want, but he still wants, I forget what verse it is, but I think it's something like God knows what we want already, but he still wants us to ask regardless of that.
I think you should go in a field and close your eyes and look up and just feel
the prayer.
The prayer.
I thought everything about that was awesome until the whole feel the prayer thing. That seemed a little woo woo to me, but
no, it's
I think
just
I love the idea of going out
God
and feeling
understands
and praying,
like what words God understands. Like sometimes we don't even know how to express it, but
That's
God
true.
understands.
The Holy Spirit presses groans, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
she meant by the feelings.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I love
Did
that
she
line,
really?
yeah.
I feel like she wasn't spiritually mature enough to have meant that from.
But that's what it means. Like God will give wisdom out of the mouths of babes. Like
all right, I suppose.
Well, Anne is a very deep.
Yeah,
She
that's true.
Probably had a hard life and been alone for the first half. I think she has a lot of depth and insight that most people don't. So I don't underestimate her, man. She's a character. And I love the aspect of prayer that she can just feel it and God will understand her emotions and what she wants and what she's thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She has experienced a lot in her short time. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just still trying to look up the Bible verse that I was trying to reference. Oh yeah, so this is
1
Matthew
Corinthians
6.
4:11.
Oh my gosh. No, Matthew 6:8. Let's see, I'm looking for the NASB, but I'm not seeing it. I'll go with the ESV. Do not be like them. I'm not sure. I'm sort of picking and choosing. I'm not sure who them is, but for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Well, what's the rest? Dang it. Hold on. Let me get. Oh, I am reading NASB. Sweet. Let me see if I can find the rest.
Don't be like them. Read the NASB.
Okay. So, the disciples are asking, I think, let's see. For pressing this is something you quoted at me, Paul, when I was sharing something. You're like, don't do that. You got to do that in secret, Paul. Or Francisco.
Oh, fasting.
I'm just trying not to say it.
Sorry.
Anyway, he says in verse 7,
the F
and
word,
when you are
sorry.
praying, do not use meaningless repetition as the Gentiles do, for they suppose they will be heard for their many words. So do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Pray then in this way. And so it is, and then he goes into the Lord's Prayer. So he is saying you still need to pray for the things you want, even though God already knows what you're going to pray beforehand. So
right.
It's still important
And it's
like you were saying, Janine, have that relationship, build up that communication. Yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So thank you so much, Ashley. All right. Any other last thoughts? That is all great, guys. Thank you so much for this fantastic conversation. But I think if there's nothing else going once, going twice, sold, we'll end there. So thank you so much, Valerie, Shanine, Paul, and thank you, Reflex Capacitors, for supporting this content. We hope that you are
More joyful today than when you first hit play.
That's the end of the episode, Paul. Hopefully this spurred some own spiritual reflection on your part, or made you ask questions, get deeper into the word.
Hopefully it didn't deter you and made things worse.
And hopefully not that, yeah. But for all of us, we bid you all shalom.
That means peace.
It does indeed. Thank you, Paul. All righty. Thank you again, Ashley, Apple Dance, D Tungsten. Let's see who else. This guy that's trying to get us to buy his stuff. Thanks for being here. I'll read. You might be good intention. It just didn't seem like it. It seemed like a bot spam thing. Let's see, anyone else that I'm forgetting? I'm sure there are other people. Fresh, Star Fox. What?
Was there another bot?
I
No,
guess.
Ashley banned it, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm still seeing it here in the chat. So no.
Oh, maybe not.
But regardless, thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, guys. I will be back tomorrow morning, and I announced the SNES Quest boss rush. What I'm gonna be doing tomorrow is I have games where I never made a save stage for the final boss.
Oh,
so I'm gonna
like chess.
What?
Did you play a game of chess and not make a save state for the final boss? Then that's one of them.
Except
you said you played games.
Chess isn't on the SNES mini.
Well, you didn't say that. You just said games.
I said
like
SNES Quest.
Sorry. Shoots and ladders.
So I'm going to be
Candyland?
playing. I have to play through Star Fox 2. I think the whole game I have to play through because I never did a save state on it. And
Do a barrel roll.
Couple others where I don't think I have a full game to play, but Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I have to. I'm close to the end with the bracelet. I just have to get to that final boss, save state it. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow for 2 to 3 hours. We'll see.
Hey, Einstein, I'm on your side.
Thank you, Paul. Are you a Star Fox fan at all, Shanine? Or you ever played it?
No, I'm a newbie gamer, so I have not played anything like that.
What are you playing these days?
Right now I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, and I also was playing Crisis Core.
I feel like what is...
Final
it's Crisis Core or Final Fantasy. Okay, thank you, yes.
Final Fantasy VII prequel game.
Yes. Okay, thank you. What are you doing, Paul? Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream, guys. Shanine, something we like to do here is give I call it a stream face. We do a silly face as the stream ends. So you're welcome to join in, or you could just smile or whatever you want to do. But thank you all for being here. We'll hopefully catch you all tomorrow morning. And until next time, here's your stream face.